The sun dipped low over the highway, painting the asphalt in streaks of amber and rust. Jake leaned forward on his motorcycle, the wind slicing across his face, his leather jacket snapping behind him like a flag of old battles. He hadn't been back home in 5 years, not since the night he roared out of town with nothing but a duffel bag, a few crumpled bills, and a heart full of anger. He had promised himself he'd never return until he was somebody. But life hadn't gone the way he imagined. 5 years on the road had left him worn, inside and out. He'd seen cities glitter and burn, slept under bridges, fought for food, and chased dreams that dissolved with every sunrise. He had joined a biker crew once, men who called each other brother, until the trouble came, and then they scattered like dust. Jake had spent nights wondering if his mother still lived in that tiny house on Maple Street, the one with the sagging porch and the rose bushes she refused to give up on. He could still hear her voice from that last argument, the way it cracked when she begged him to stay. "Jake, you're all I have left," she had said, clutching the edge of his sleeve. But he had been too proud, too angry, too desperate to escape the small-town judgment and endless struggle. "I'll come back when I make something of myself," he had shouted, slamming the door and leaving her standing there with tears in her eyes. Now, 5 years later, all that pride felt like poison. He had nothing to show for his time away except scars, regret, and a motorcycle that coughed more than it roared. Still, as the town's faded welcome sign came into view, "Welcome to Cedarville, a place to call home," his heart thudded painfully. The words felt cruelly ironic. He slowed down, taking in the familiar sights. The old gas station, the abandoned train yard, the rusted water tower that once seemed so tall when he was a boy. Nothing had changed much, yet everything felt smaller. The people walking down Main Street looked older, slower, as if time had thickened around them. As he passed the diner on the corner, the same one he and his mom used to visit when they could spare a few dollars, memories hit him like a punch to the gut. He could see her sitting in the booth, smiling through exhaustion, pretending the cheap pancakes were a treat. She used to tell him, "Someday, Jake, things will be better. You'll see." He pulled over, cutting the engine. The silence was deafening. For a moment, Jake just sat there, staring at the diner's flickering neon sign, "Marty's Diner, home of the best coffee in town." His reflection stared back from the glass door, older, harder, and lost. He didn't know what waited for him inside, or if he even had the right to walk in. But something told him it was time. Time to face what he'd left behind. Jake stood outside Marty's Diner for a long time, his gloved hands trembling slightly as he stared through the glass. The place looked smaller than he remembered. Same red booths, same checkered floor, same smell of coffee and fried eggs drifting into the cold evening air. It was strange how time seemed to stop here, as if the diner had been waiting for him all these years. He took a deep breath, pushed open the door, and the little bell above it jingled, a sound that instantly sent a rush of memories through him. Inside, a few regulars sat quietly at the counter, sipping coffee and chatting in low tones. The jukebox in the corner played an old country song he used to hate as a kid. He glanced around, his eyes scanning every face, unsure what he was hoping, or dreading, to find. Then he saw her. At the far end of the diner, wiping down tables near the window, was his mother. For a moment, Jake thought his mind was playing tricks on him. She looked smaller somehow, frailer. Her once dark hair was streaked with gray, tied back in a bun that couldn't hide how tired she looked. Her hands, red and rough from years of work, moved slowly over the table with a damp cloth. Every movement spoke of exhaustion and quiet endurance. Jake's chest tightened. He remembered those same hands patching his jeans, cooking late at night after her shifts, holding him when he was little and scared. And now those same hands were scrubbing crumbs from a stranger's plate. He stood frozen, the weight of 5 years crashing down on him all at once. Every missed birthday, every unreturned call, every promise to come home soon, that he never kept, they all echoed in his mind. He had told himself she'd be fine, that she didn't need him, that she had neighbors, church friends, someone else to lean on. But looking at her now, he knew the truth, she had been alone. The waitress behind the counter noticed him and smiled politely. "Grab a seat anywhere, hun. Coffee's fresh." Jake nodded, but his voice caught in his throat. He took a seat at the booth nearest his mother, hoping to find the courage to speak. She didn't notice him right away. She just kept working, humming softly under her breath, probably the same tune she used to sing while making dinner. Finally, She turned to collect a tray from a nearby table, and her eyes met his. For a second, everything stopped. The rag in her hand slipped and hit the floor. Her lips parted slightly, her face draining of color. Jake's breath caught in his chest. He wanted to say something, anything, but the words wouldn't come. "Jake," she whispered, her voice trembling, barely audible over the hum of the diner. He nodded slowly, his throat tight, tears burning behind his eyes. And in that quiet, between the clatter of dishes and the soft country music, a mother recognized the son she had prayed for every single night. "Jake," she whispered again, as if afraid that saying his name too loud would make him disappear. The rag slipped completely from her hand and landed with a soft thud on the linoleum floor. For a long, breathless moment, neither of them moved. The din of the diner faded into the background, the clinking of coffee cups, the sizzle of the grill, the chatter of strangers, all of it blurred into silence. Jake finally stood, his legs weak as if the ground itself were unsteady. "Mom," he managed to say, his voice cracking under the weight of 5 lost years. She took a hesitant step toward him, studying his face like she was searching for the boy she used to know beneath the rough beard, the leather jacket, the tired eyes. And then, without another word, she rushed forward and threw her arms around him. Jake froze for half a second before his body gave in, his arms wrapping around her tightly. She felt so small, so fragile, and yet her embrace was the strongest thing he'd ever known. He buried his face into her shoulder, his breath trembling as the tears came freely. "I'm sorry," he whispered again and again. "I'm so sorry, Mom. I should have come back sooner. I should have never left you like that." His mother held him tighter, her fingers trembling as they brushed through his hair like she used to when he was a child. "You're here now, Jake," she murmured softly. "That's all that matters. You came home." The other diners had turned to watch the scene unfold, some smiling warmly, others discreetly wiping away tears. Even the cook behind the counter stopped flipping burgers for a moment, his eyes glistening. But Jake and his mother barely noticed anyone else. For them, it was as if the world had shrunk to that one small corner of the diner where forgiveness and love quietly found their way back. When she finally let go, she cupped his face in her worn hands. "You look so tired," she said gently. "Have you eaten anything today?" Jake let out a broken laugh, half sob, half relief. "Not since yesterday, but I don't care about that. I just wanted to see you." She smiled, that same soft, kind smile he had missed for so long. "Sit down, sweetheart, let me fix you something. I still know how you like your eggs." Later that night, after the diner closed and the neon lights flickered off, they sat outside on the curb under the quiet hum of streetlights, sharing a slice of pie she had saved from the counter. The air was cool, but Jake felt warm for the first time in years. "I'll find a job tomorrow," he said earnestly. "We'll fix up the house, maybe repaint the porch like you always wanted." "I'm not leaving again, Mom." She looked at him, tears glinting in her tired eyes. "I never needed the house, Jake," she said softly. "I just needed you." And for the first time in 5 years, Jake smiled, because he finally understood what home truly meant.